Welcome to Beyond the Line, Season 5. This is Episode 2. Hi, I am one of your co-hosts, Malachi.
And I'm your other co-host, Ashton. And this week we're going to be talking about financial health among students. We conducted a survey, and we're going to give some of our own personal testimonies and talk about other college students and what they've struggled with.
Yep, and just like Ashton said, we're going to kick off talking about some of our personal testimonies. Some of you guys may have saw us street teaming in the rotunda, having some of you guys take some of these surveys so we can get some different statistics about the financial state of college students here on campus. And so Ashton's going to kick us off with her first story about how college tuition and funds, how she's figured that out.
Yeah, so I have been very fortunate throughout college to take out very few student loans. But I will say that I think the smartest decision that I made in college was to live with my parents. Now, I was fortunate enough to do this because I grew up in a university town. My parents live really close by, but I know a lot of people that I grew up with in the same, like that live in Greenville.
Mm-hmm.
They also have that option to live with their parents, but they choose to live outside their parents' house for, many reasons. And say what you want to say about it, I get it. Like, not a lot of people 18 and up want to live with their parents.
Yeah.
For many reasons, and I get it. But in the long run, I think it's the smartest decision for me. I was able to save a lot of money, number one, and then I'm not stressed out about making bills, trying to make payments on stuff, because it's like I can focus on my school life, on my social life. Yeah, I still had a job. I think it's smart to have a job, but I didn't have to work as much, and that just wasn't an added stressor. Like, if I'm having to worry about making my rent, I'm having to pick up shifts, work more and more, and I've got a paper due at midnight, but I can't get it done because I have to go to work. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think you shine a light that a lot of college students don't want to take that route, but I do think that route is honestly the most beneficial if you can do it. Especially speaking from, and I'll get into my own personal situation, but I think specifically in yours, I think not only just in rent, but when I think of that, I think of food. There's times that your mom is cooking dinner, your dad's cooking dinner that you don't have to worry about picking that up, when at other times you got to cook for yourself, you got to go out and buy your own groceries. And so it's not even just that I think it does help. And then the only thing that you really would have to kind of factor into that is gas, which you would have to factor into that if you lived into an off-campus apartment anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Well, not only that, too, but it's like that's the time that my mom is taking to cook dinner is a time that I can sit and work on my school assignments versus worrying about cooking dinner, going grocery shopping. And I'm very blessed and fortunate to be able to say that I can do that kind of thing, and I do have a good relationship with my parents.
For sure.
Is it all sunshine and rainbows? No, it's not. Like, it's not the most fun thing to be like 20, 21 living in your parents' house. But in the long run, it was definitely the smartest decision for me. I'm not going to regret it. Just like my parents being there for me, that's just added support that like a lot of college students need, and they don't get. Like, it sounds kind of childish to be like, oh, like my mom does my laundry, but like if like she's there to help me. And like I said, I'm very fortunate to be able to say that. But if I'm just really stressed out, because college can be hard, like my mom's there to help me and say like, here, like I'll do this for you, or like just like I remember one day, like this sounds so silly, but I had like a breakdown because my car wasn't clean and I didn't feel like I had time to do it because I was so busy. My mom was like, come on, like I'll help you, like just come on. Like she's there to like lift me up, and like it's just something that I think, it's a very smart decision.
Yeah, I think it goes into a lot of added support that I think is helping get you to where you're at now, and especially the independent person that you are, that I know you outside of this, but even then, so, and like it can tell how much you needed that support coming from Greenville, and you being able to have that. And you're right, there's a lot of things that we are trying to figure out how to manage all these things, that having someone there that is there to alleviate some of these responsibilities for you can be a huge help.
Yeah.
And de-stress for you a lot. So
yeah, especially with like, I don't know, college can be hard.
I agree.
Can be hard. And like, I even like stretch as far as to say, I don't know if for me personally, if I didn't have all this, I don't like, would I have been able to finish college? I don't know. Would I have finished it as quickly? I'm not sure. Would have been harder. Would my grades have been as good? Probably not.
I mean, I definitely can understand that because I have, I mean, countless of friends that went to college outside of their town, and I don't think anything was bad for them. I just don't think they necessarily had the support that you're saying, that they felt like they couldn't succeed to the level that they wanted to at that university.
Yeah.
And so it drove them back home, and sometimes they go to community college for a little bit and then go back out to that 4-year university. But sometimes they just need a little bit more of that support, and being able to go to a big university and still be at home at the same point in time is very beneficial.
It is. Like I said, very lucky, very blessed to be able to say it. But I mean, that doesn't take away from other students' experiences and them leaving their college town. And there's definitely development to be had there. And, you know, people who get scholarships and maybe don't have all those financial, like, obstacles, maybe that's better for them. I think it's just depending on the person, the personality type, the financial status, things like that. I think this is just for me personally and how I feel about it and, like, what worked best for me.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your experience?
Yeah, I definitely can. Mine's much different. And I think the last sentence you said very is key, because that wasn't for me. I could not stay at home. I had been going to such a small high school that I really was looking to branch out. I was looking to go and be a part of a bigger university. And so I started out at UNC Charlotte, and I took out some student loans for sure in my first year. And that was a pretty big student loan because I was playing football at the same point in time. And so I was staying in the football dorm. I was doing a lot of things the football players were doing. And so a lot of those players who are on scholarship, they get their meal plans paid for. They get all those things taken care of. But I needed the biggest meal plan that I could get because I was eating 4 or 5 times a day. And so after that, I transitioned to ECU. I still continued to take out loans, but I tried to get off campus as soon as possible so I didn't have to pay for the housing and the meal plans that you do have to pay for on campus. And I think that can be very beneficial. But I know for the current financial state that I am, to where I am paying for my essentially all of my college tuition, it is very key that I made those decisions that I could cut down how much loans that I would have to take out. And then so kind of after transitioning into that, I took out some loans and was able to live off campus for my second 2 years here at ECU. And then now going into my master's, I got an opportunity from Campus Rec and Wellness to where they're helping me pay for my school with their graduate assistantship while I work here, and they're giving me a stipend outside of that. And so that's something that I'm already a big proponent of, working on campus. I've had a job since my sophomore year. Once I quit playing football, after I left UNC Charlotte, I got a job immediately just because I had a job when I was in high school as well. And I think that kind of helps you manage your time a little bit better. Having a job, you're forced to not just be so lax with homework and different things like that. But yeah, and I think that's something that's helped me. I think working on campus is a big thing that I highly, highly suggest. It's very easable and it's flexible with your schedule. And they look to help you improve as you make different connections. And I've probably been in front of a lot of different high-level ECU staff and gotten to make some cool networking opportunities with people that I never thought I would get to be in their presence. And it wouldn't have happened if I didn't get to take this job and get this opportunity. So, but it definitely is a big help. I mean, working off campus is great too. Definitely get what you want. And I know on campus doesn't always pay as much, but I think it definitely is a lot more flexible. So,
Working on campus, though, gave you the opportunity to have your grad school paid for.
Yes.
So that's another thing. Yeah, you may not be getting paid as much, but the professional development's there, the opportunities are there. Just depends on the person. Like I said, I worked all throughout college, well, excluding my freshman year because COVID.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of took a break. But then my sophomore year, I worked off campus, and then I technically still have that job to this day, actually. But yeah, I think it's interesting that you did play football freshman year, though, not on scholarship. That's hard because you can't work. And it's like, I'm taking out student loans. I can't work. Like, that's difficult.
For sure. You kind of just have a dream, and you just hoping that the dream's gonna come through. You'll work hard enough to get that scholarship offer. But you're right, you don't really have the time to work until the off season. And even then, in the off season, that's a tight schedule of only getting to work probably 2 or 3 days because you have practice the other 3 to 4. And so it is hard to manage that time. It's something that I think I didn't realize I realize I have a lot more time in my schedule now from playing football, and realizing that there's a lot more that you can like do in a day. And I think that's why kind of explains that a little bit more. But it definitely is a lot. It's a lot mentally. It's a lot when you don't really know how you're going to make ends meet, when you don't really want to beg your parents for money and things like that, like especially if you know what's going on there. And so you just want to make sure that you can handle what you can handle and that you can just figure it out. And then teammates definitely looked out. There's definitely times that they helped out and stuff. So definitely have the right community around you. It can definitely be a good, beneficial environment.
Right. Makes sense. So do you enjoy having a job better? Like when you did get a job, like was that more beneficial for you in school, or did you find it hard to balance that?
Yeah, I think it was more beneficial. I think sometimes I'm a little bit different than most in terms of that. If I have more time on my hands, then often I'm not the most productive because I know I can like space things out. I don't have to be on time. But with me having a job, I knew if I have to work from 4 to 11 that I wasn't gonna have time to do that paper when I get off of work. And so I had to take time the day beforehand to kind of prioritize, and it helped me have a lot more priorities in life. It helped me do a lot better with my time management, because I knew if I wasn't working a job that I would just do it all that last day, not worry about it. And a lot of my work ended up getting a lot better because I was having to do it beforehand, before some of these other things. But what about you? Do you feel like it's been more beneficial, less beneficial?
Yes. Just not having that restriction because you're not like, Mom and Dad, can I have money? Like,
Yeah.
I'm 20 years old. Like, not like shaming anyone who doesn't work. I understand that like somebody who may be in a very rigorous program, like
Different situation.
that may be very difficult to work, but there wasn't any limitations. Like I could get a good work, social life, school life balance because, well, I mean, like I said, living at home helped, but I'm not like being restricted on my money exactly because I had the money to do things. Like if my friends want me to go to dinner, it's like, yeah, I can go because I've been working like every week. I mean, I worked a lot.
Yeah.
Like my junior year of college, I mean, this sounds crazy. Like I don't necessarily recommend this.
Yeah.
But I was working like 7 days a week between 2 jobs, like working here and then my other job. So I would work here Monday through Thursday, have school Monday through Thursday, go home, do my schoolwork, work Friday through Sunday at my other job. Now that's a lot, but it also I feel like was what I needed at that time. I needed structure. I needed an escape. Like, you know, like I need to get out of the house. Like it was just a good community for me.
Yeah.
And that's how it worked for me.
Yeah.
And then I was able to enjoy my summer because I worked and saved up so much money.
That's true. That's true. I was gonna say 2 jobs. So 2 jobs. Let's talk about it. So you're staying at home, and so you don't have as much financial obligations. What drove you to get 2 jobs while you're in school?
You know, it's like, I don't know why. I think I just got in a place of working my other job, and I just liked it there, and I liked working, and it was my thing. I was making good money there, and then I started working here as an intern, so I wasn't making any money. Well,
that's true.
you know, like, so I'm working the 2 jobs as it is. But I mean, my parents do expect me to pay for certain things, like my gas, and like when I want to go out to eat with a friend or like whatever, anything entertainment that I want to do, I need to pay for it. Clothes I want to buy, like I need to pay for it. Different things. And so I still did need to have a job. So, and then I was able to balance it somehow. Like I was making it work. My grades were still good. And I just let it continue on until like when I got offered an actual job here and was getting paid here, wasn't the standard that I was used to living to at what I was getting paid here. And I was like, I need more money than this. Like, I mean, that's just how it was for me. Like, and that's okay. Like, if I want to work more because I want more things, and like, that's just how it's going to have to be.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree.
My parents are going to give it to me. Like I said, I don't necessarily recommend that. I maybe didn't do the best with budgeting and like living within my means. But
I think you're a college student. I think it's interesting, and it's definitely challenging, and it's definitely based on the person, because I can definitely say there's a point in time to where I had 2 jobs, like for in the course of a year. So I can definitely relate to that. Like I was working in the summer doing 2 jobs as an orientation assistant, and then working here as a fitness attendant. And so I can understand the need of that and trying to figure out how to do that and what's the best way to go about it. But I just think that's a good caveat to put in there, that not you were staying at home, but you also had a lot of other responsibilities that you did need a job for.
yeah,
And that taught you a lot of self-responsibility that leads into other areas and things. So
yeah, which is like crazy to me. Like thinking that like I had to work all this time still living at home, like, but it was beneficial to me because I don't really have like debt because I worked so hard.
that's good.
Now,
That's great.
had I chose to like not have a job or work the one job or like a lot less, and it, I mean, like I said, depending on the person, everything's gonna work best for someone else. But
For sure.
I wouldn't have had as much opportunity. I probably would have had more debt. Would have had to take out student loans. But luckily I didn't. It just worked out in a good way for me. But I just do think that having a job and working those jobs, I have a lot of experience, and that professional development is just so important. I wasn't working here for the money.
Yeah, I understand that.
I'm working for the professional development and the community.
Yeah, but I think that's great though, because I think when we talk about getting a job on campus, some people are wondering, okay, well, what type of job do I get? And I think that's a good point to show that you had 2 jobs, and it's not necessarily that you need to have 2 jobs, but some people will quit a job that's low paying just to try to get a higher paying job, and they really may not enjoy what that job is doing. And so why not try to see if you can find a situation where you're getting the experience and the professional development, and that's maybe what's paying you more than the income that you're making, and then you have another job that's maybe paying you a little bit more, that's not as much professional development, but that can make up what you're not making. So
Yeah.
but I know you have some statistics about our survey, so you can start running through some of those numbers.
Yeah. So we asked students here at the Rec Center, what do they think that their biggest financial obstacle is as a student? So the 33.3% of our respondents said that they believe it's not knowing the difference between wants and needs. Very understandable because,
Very.
you know, like I want to go to this nice dinner with my friends on a Friday night. Obviously, you don't need to.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, I don't want to miss out on this.
Yeah. I think it's how you go ahead.
I want this nice new piece of clothing. Like I like these clothes, and that, I mean, that's like I said, that's something I struggle with, and that's why I did have to work a second job, because I wanted to do these extra things I couldn't necessarily afford.
Yeah, I understand that, but I think it's in the key of like how you placed it, because some people can easily in their mind be like, oh man, I need these clothes, I have to go and work this job, and it's like, yeah, you probably do need those clothes to work that job, but it's really making sure that you're understanding what is a need and what is a want though. It's good to need some clothes for a job, and that's a good reason to have it, but that's different than just wanting some clothes and just wanting to go out shopping because you just need a new wardrobe, you need a completely new wardrobe, and deciding to break that down. But that is challenging.
Like I can find the same pair of leggings that I like that cost upwards of like $100 for like $20 on Amazon.
Yeah.
Like I something like, I mean, I don't know. 23.8% said that it's student loans.
That's sadly the cookie that I have to deal with as well. Student loans are a big tackle. Something that I have some older brothers who are fighting the Sally Mae battle right now, and it definitely is challenging. It's definitely something that you want to make sure you have a plan. You really want to make sure that you're consciously thinking about it, because those student loans are including a lot of interest, and so the longer you wait to tackle that, the longer it's going to build up, and you just don't want to be in that situation and where you want to go out and get a house, you want to go out and do some different things with your future family, and these student loans are still sitting heavily over your head, interrupting your credit and doing different things like that. So it definitely is challenging, because we want everybody to go and get an education, and we're hoping the government can do the student loan forgiveness, but I definitely don't think that's something that should bar you from going to get your education, but I definitely think that you should try to do it in a reasonable way, that it's not affecting your future to where you can enjoy the rest of your life because you just wanted to get an education. So
I think it's also being smart about it. Like my mom and we talked about this, like, had I not been fortunate enough to have assistance with my school being paid for, she told me she wouldn't have let me take out that much in student loans because it just isn't smart. She said she would have made me go to a community college. There's nothing wrong with doing. I mean, transfer like 2 years in, and you save so much money. You get the same degree, the same education. I would have went to a community college. I would have gone part-time and worked and made payments at my like education as I could. And I mean, like, that's a daunting amount of money.
Yeah,
especially, and you need to take that kind of thing seriously. I think a lot of students don't realize what the kind of commitment they're making. They're just like, oh, sure, like, I'll sign, like, here, like,
yes,
I'll take this amount of money. That loan is real. It's gonna come back.
It's not
just
it's not just there.
It's not just there. Like, you're gonna have to pay the consequences for it one day. And that when you take out the student loans, you need to be taking your education seriously. Because I think that there's a lot of students that will take out X amount of money their freshman year and they don't even finish college.
Yep.
You just wasted 10 grand plus.
And you didn't
and you have to pay that back. I mean, like, there has to be some kind of buy-in, and you need to take it seriously they're real.
Yeah.
It's not just fake money.
Yeah. And I definitely agree. I definitely think a lot of people, like you're saying, they take it too lightly, to where they don't acknowledge how serious it is. And how, like you said, even just being a freshman coming that first year, and maybe you just didn't feel college was it for you or it was going to work out for you. You step away that you have $10,000, $15,000 that you took in student loans that you do want to work hard to pay that off, especially if you're just going to be working, because now once Sallie Mae realizes you're not in school, they are going to start expecting payments on that. And that's when that interest starts going. And what maybe started out as a $10,000 loan, like you're saying, is now you're paying off $40,000, $50,000 because you have interest over all these years. So
it's not easy to pay back. It's not something you want to be making loans on, especially when you didn't even get the degree that you took the loans out for. Okay. Interestingly enough, 71.4% of our respondents said they did not have student loans.
Wow.
Then the other 28.6% said that they do. So, I mean, that's still a good amount. I mean, this was a small survey in the rec center. So,
yeah, that's great.
That's just, I think a lot of students do still struggle with it, though.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's interesting that there's a lot of students who don't. I feel like that if you would have did this like 5 or 6 years ago, that number would have been flipped. And so I think there's a lot of people trying to get their education without doing the student loan route. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Or taking advantage of the opportunities that they have on campus to get scholarships or looking into those scholarship opportunities. I mean, don't doubt them. Don't doubt yourself. Don't think they're not going to choose me. You're like, I'm not going to get this scholarship. You never know. But then again, 71.4% say that they do have a job. That's great. Yep. I think it's so important to have a job. Like I said, there are some rigorous programs like nursing or you're in medical school. I can imagine it's hard to have a job.
For sure.
I mean, so, depending on the person, 40% say they don't find it difficult to balance work and school. And I think that's interesting. I think there's like an idea in some people's mind, like, oh, like it's gonna be so hard for me. Like, if you make a schedule and you don't overcommit yourself, it's doable.
Yeah, I agree.
However, 35% said that they do. And I think this is just depending on the financial situation. Some people may be working just 10 hours a week, and some people may have to work upwards of like 30 hours a week, which is a lot and can cause a strain on your academics and your schedule.
Yeah, I think the example that you used earlier was like a very key. Like, I have homework that I need to do tonight, but I have to work this shift tonight so I can pay my rent, and I don't get off until a certain time. And then they're getting off trying to finish all these assignments, and it's not because they mismanage their time. It's because they've been working all week, 30 to 40 hours a week, trying to make ends meet so they can go to school and get the education that they want. So it definitely is challenging.
Right. But then we talked with students about what they spend most of their money on, and 50% said most of their money is spent on their necessities like grocery and housing, which is to be expected. But then the next 25% is shopping and their hobbies, their personal spending. 20% is on social events and food and entertainment.
Interesting. Which one do you feel like is the most for you?
Being that living at home and I'm not having that housing and groceries, that kind of thing. Luckily, I don't do a good job of tracking my spending. I would probably say I'm in the 25% with the personal shopping and hobbies. I think that 20% with social events is one of those things, if you don't have the extra money, that's probably one of the easiest things to cut out.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, spending money on, that was one thing my parents always said growing up, like, you don't need to spend money on food. Like, we have food at home.
That's true. And especially if you're spending, like, if you say you're spending 50% of it in the groceries at the beginning of it, including with the housing, then you really shouldn't be spending that much money in entertainment and food. But I mean, of course, if you feel like you have it in your budget, then for sure, like, no one's judging. But if you feel like you're trying to figure out where your spending is going, that definitely is one of the first places that you can cut. And you can even maybe not even necessarily cut all of the food and entertainment, but maybe you cut food by 10% and you cut the personal shopping by 10%. And that way you still get a little bit of both. So
yeah, you're living better within your means. Like, yes, I want to go out to eat this time. It's easier, but can I afford to do it? That's, you know, I mean, if you think about it and you're taking money out on student loans, hey, like, maybe I cut this amount of money out of what I spend on food or entertainment and I put it towards my loan.
Yeah.
That being said, you don't want to ruin your mental health.
That's true. That's true.
By, like, isolating yourself and not going out and enjoying things.
Yeah.
But just be smart about it and make good decisions with that kind of thing.
For sure.
71.4% say they budget for savings.
That's great.
That is great.
Great. I would say prepare for a rainy day. Prepare for a rainy day.
You always need to have an emergency fund. You never know.
Never know. I definitely agree. But that's great, though. I'm glad. I think that's another thing that I say, like, if you did that 5 to 10 years ago, not saying students 5 to 10 years ago were unresponsible, but I just don't think that there's been as much of a, especially post-COVID, thought of that on your mind, that, like, something can go wrong in the world and you need to make sure that you're prepared. So
yeah, I mean, a lot of people are out of jobs and just never know. Yeah. I mean, yeah. But that concludes our survey results.
And we appreciate you guys for tuning in for this second episode of Beyond the Lines. We have another episode coming out to you guys soon, so definitely stay tuned, and we'll see you guys around the road.